Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And this video is going to be kind of sad, but I think only if you were a Beast Mastery Hunter enjoyer. Not to mention, on top of this PvP tuning adjustment, we've got a lot of news and speculation to discuss as well. And as always, if you want to stay up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then smash the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So they are finally doing it. Dark Ranger Beast Mastery Hunters are receiving a nerf, and they are targeting their kill shot or their black arrow, as it is replacing kill shot when they talent into the Dark Ranger. They are reducing black arrow's damage by 15% in PvP combat, and they are additionally reducing Hunter's Prey, which increases the damage of kill shot by 5% per stack, down from 10%. Now, do note that I have seen some speculation from players that this only turns out to be roughly a 3.5 to 5% damage loss overall, but I think it is likely going to remove some of their lethality, which is something for the specialization and its role in the game. It was kind of like, you know, you can have sustain or burst. If you have sustain and burst, it's having your cake and eating it too, and you lose a little bit of identity in that factor. So Beastmaster Hunter being like a sustain class, Marksman being a burst class, I think leaving those as like identifying markers to the gameplay of the class is important. So I think this is likely going to lead this class into that direction, but it's probably not going to be like totally unviable, given that the math on that checks out to being very small. We don't see any other class tuning adjustments. I made a video discussing some of the changes that I think could go through. There's a lot of other specializations that could be represented as well. I think actually, according to the statistics, you're more likely to see a tank spec in PvP at the moment than a Havoc Demon Hunter. So it's a rough time being a Havoc Demon Hunter. We also don't see any adjustments to MMR systems as they stand currently, with it being vastly different between Battleground Blitz and Arena brackets. And I'm starting to think at this point that they just need to rip the entire thing out and replace the entire rating system, because the inconsistencies between seasons, I think particularly starting in Dragonflight, but it's happened even in older expansions like Cataclysm, where MMR goes out of control and players get to 4,000 rating, and now they set that as their expectation for I'm a 4,000 rated player, but in the next season, if that MMR gets adjusted to be too low, suddenly you're not hitting the numbers you hit in the previous season, you feel really bad, and you leave the game. And considering every AWC tournament, speaking of which, we have one literally coming up this weekend, when you see the chat all spamming like MMR, fix MMR, I think that it's got to be obvious that this is a really big issue. It's leading to a big problem in retention for players throughout a season. And I think at this point, because the expectations are so blown out with the current system, you have to rip it all out and you have to put something new in. And I don't know what the best solution is. They could go the Mythic Plus score route, where you get a number that does nothing but go up the entire season, and see what happens with that, given that Mythic Plus is having very great participation. You could bring in a system like League of Legends or Overwatch with ranking systems as opposed to numbers that you rank up through and progress through. But I really think this system needs to be looked at, because it's just too inconsistent season to season, and players at this point, if they can't hit the benchmarks that they've set for themselves, they get frustrated and they move on. So if you're one of those players, let me know in the comments down below, because I really think that this is something that needs to be made very much so aware. Because it's easily the biggest change, class tuning aside. The next big discussion is the Warcraft Direct. So this is a show that Blizzard is going to be putting on Wednesday, basically like 2 days from now, I think. And it's going to be celebrating 30 years of Warcraft, not just World of Warcraft. It's going to be World of Warcraft, Warcraft RTS. It's going to be Hearthstone. It's going to be Warcraft Rumble. It's going to be going through all of the milestones and the journey of each one of these games. And it likely means that there's going to be at least some update or big update, I would think, to a lot of these games specifically. Now, we did see the introduction of like the backpacks from Warcraft 3 with the different race logos, like the Scourge and the Night Elf and the Orcs and the humans, with those Lordaeron backpacks with the trading post rewards that you can earn. And I'm wondering if that's like all we're really going to see from this specifically. I mean, the obvious ones are like future retail patches, maybe a little bit of next expansion news. This isn't something that would like totally blow me away as far as like a reveal, and I'm kind of wondering, like, are they holding something in the chamber that's just gonna like completely blow everybody away, that we're not expecting? I would expect like maybe more SOD news, maybe something like a MOP Classic announcement, but again, that's not like mind-blowing. This is the track that we've been on for a long time at this point with World of Warcraft. Now, I did see some screenshots of up-res pictures of Warcraft 2 remastered, and I know for a lot of people they were upset about the Warcraft 3 remastered. I think for me it was, you know, the loss of features, no like weekly tournaments, no leaderboard. It was missing a lot of core features that Warcraft 3 originally had, that really like the core fans of that game were upset about. And you know, there was some subjective debate over like the graphic style of it. For me it was about the campaign, but I'd already played the campaign. But now Warcraft 2, I've never actually played the campaign for that, and it seems like it could be really interesting to go even further back in time for Warcraft lore and have a playthrough that with up-resed graphics, because the graphics in Warcraft 2 were way less modern than Warcraft 3. So there's no way that game is not going to look better if that ends up being the case. If it ends up not being the case, I'm going to be really mad at whoever posted these screenshots of up-res pictures of Warcraft 2, because as somebody who basically got introduced to Blizzard through Warcraft 3, I never played it. I don't even know remotely what it is about or what the characters are about. But if you're excited about potentially Warcraft 2 being announced, let me know in the comments down below. That would be something that would actually blow me away as far as something new. With Hearthstone, it's like maybe new cards. Warcraft Rumble, like maybe a couple of new champions or whatever they call them that they put down and they start marching forward. I think maybe the biggest thing that would blow me away as far as announcements for this would be like Classic Plus, like legitimate, like developed unique content. I'm not talking about like bosses that get new abilities, you know. I'm talking like from the ground up new art developments and like progression for Classic. That would probably blow me away, because, you know, at this point we haven't really seen anything stupendous in that direction. It's kind of just been like, hey, we're gonna up-res, introduce abilities from other expansions and basically bring them into SOD, with a couple of new abilities here or there, but nothing like really mind-blowing in that sense. And the boss mechanics have been fun, as from when I experienced it at level 25 for Season of Discovery, and it seems like players are enjoying their time there, but it wasn't like, I think, what people were really expecting for like a Classic Plus. Like they want like content beyond Naxxramas or something like that. I think for me personally, if Classic could incorporate some type of end game rated PvP system, that would likely get me a lot more on board with it specifically. And then obviously we got like Soda Poppin talking about like setting up all this hardcore stuff, and given that OTK was involved with the big Makara tournament that happened, now was it last year or a few years ago? I'm getting old, I can't even remember, but that was one of the biggest events when it came to like World of Warcraft broadcasting, I think, that the game has ever seen. So are they going to be, is something happening with that? I'm curious to see. I'm really hoping, honestly, with this announcement for Warcraft Direct, that it's going to be something that just blows me away, because I really want to be blown away. You know, I just want to be completely blown away. Similar, like, well, I remember when I was at BlizzCon Live and they announced Battle for Azeroth and they showed the cinematic. This was prior to the systems that we got to see play out for Battle for Azeroth, but the cinematic itself, man, I remember like tearing up a little bit watching it on the commentator desk with Vinruki and turning around and seeing it on the big screen at the stage with everybody there and just being like completely blown away by the, you know, the nature of this cinematic. So I'm really hoping this Warcraft Direct gets something that just like pulls the heartstrings, and hits where it counts, basically, for this. So let me know what you guys are speculating, what you're anticipating, or what you would like to see from it in the comments down below. And we got some new transmogs coming. I saw some data mining coming through for transmogs that look very similar to elite PvP sets from expansions prior. So this one was Cataclysm. So there's a bunch of items with new tabards as well, with the Expedition Reliquary tabards. And this set is not the elite set for Mage. I think it was a bit more bulky. I remember having it, and now I don't have it on my account for some reason, and there's no way for me to get it, and I'm upset about it because it was purple, I'm pretty sure, with big spikes coming out. So I don't think this is elite set. This looks more like the non-elite PvP set. This Hunter set, hard for me to say, but it's just kind of a recolor of the existing PvP set. And what's interesting to me is that the fact that they're showing these things makes me wonder if they could bring in more recolors for other parts of the game. Because to me, like Mythic Plus, for example, should have an elite set for Mythic Plus players to push rating for, even if it's just a recolor. And even other PvP brackets, 3 versus 3 arena compared to solo shuffle, 2v2 arena versus Battleground Blitz. I really feel like having recolors for people to go after, so like all the content has something for you to work towards. Because I feel like a lot of players, let me know if you're one of them, but like you get 1800 rating, you get your elite set, and you're like, all right, I'm pretty done here. And like maybe you play a different class or something like that, if you care about getting it on another class. And that seems to be like the main goal for like the average player from what I've observed personally. So the fact that these recolors exist, this was the warrior one, interesting kind of gray take on it. I think it was like brown and green from the original colors, if I'm remembering correctly. The druid set, this looks actually very similar to the elite set, so much so that I'm not 100% certain. I think this is the non-elite set. I think this some of these are season 9 and some of them are season 10. I can't even remember if this is season 10 or season 9. This was, I want to say season 9. They call it the Twilight Zealots battle plate, but I'm pretty sure these were all PvP sets of gear, and this helmet and shoulders looks a little bit more like the elite set, but I'm not 100% certain on that for sure. But it looks like there's a ton of just cosmetics that are getting data mined over and over and over and over. So there's a lot to really keep your eyes out for and to look out for. But that's basically it here for this update. So thank you guys very much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the discussion, and I will see you in the next one.